we're back into regular session. No decisions were made in the executive session. I've got Reed Riley on here, but he's not here. Northwest Kansas Child Advocacy.
On here, yeah.
On here. Jeff Paulson? No. Helen, step up here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first thing I wanted to talk to you about was Northwest Kansas Planning and Development. And I don't know how familiar you are with that, but the county and the city of St. Francis split the dues, which are set up by mill levy. And so there's a place for representative from Cheyenne County, and I don't think that that appointment was made this year. So I'm on both boards, both Northwest Kansas Planning and also on the Pioneer Country Development. So I go to the meetings, and we meet once a month, usually the last Wednesday at 7 o'clock in Hill City. But that entity, as far as the county, is the one that does your community development block grants, which give you ambulances, fire trucks, buildings, your infrastructure like water and sewer. The cities apply for the grants, and so those come out of Hill City, but you don't have a commissioner appointed to that yet.
Yeah, but we need one, is what you're saying.
You need one appointed, I said I'm on the board, so I do go to the meetings, and I think that a packet should come back to the office. Does it come into the office, like for Northwest Kansas Planning and Development? And if somebody isn't there, they usually send it.
I don't know.
But one of your prior commissioners is on there, and so I don't know where it's going. I mean, I don't know where it's going. I just know that you don't have a commissioner appointed to that group.
And what's that entail? I mean, what's the responsibilities of that?
Basically, like I said, they meet once a month. It's the last Wednesday of the month, and talk about a lot of what what's available, what's going on. If it's a situation where it's a hardship for one of you to go, I would suggest you still appoint somebody, and then I can report back to you because I'm going, because I'm on both of those committees. But Mr.
Are
Radcliffe
you
was
saying we
prior.
can appoint you?
No, I'm already on there. So it needs to be a
That's
county
not
commit. It needs to be a county commissioner. And I'm gonna tell you that
Is it Hill City?
it's in Hill City. So you're looking, a couple hours to get there. The meeting might last 30 minutes, might last an hour, might last 2. I mean, like
Every
I said,
month?
Every month. Unless Randy Raby is out of town or something.
You said that was the last Wednesday of every month?
Yes, 7 o'clock
AM?
p.m.
Ah, jeez.
It was exciting last month. We came back and ran into a storm, but
Either one of you guys want to jump in on this?
No, I don't.
And is it? It's so hard to look ahead and see if you're going to be available that far in advance.
Yeah.
But
And what I would suggest is you appoint somebody, and if it's a situation where whoever you appoint can't make it, that I would also watch the agenda, and if there's something that's real important coming up, then I would let you know.
I'll do it.
did Roger say I'll do it?
That's what he said.
Real low. It's good to hear.
All right. So we'll make that appointment. Do we need to make a resolution, or is it just a?
I think probably maybe a motion. I don't know how they've done it. It's like when you appoint the commissioners to the different committees and stuff, and however you do that in the same way.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion that Roger Falconer, give me the title again of what we're,
CCDC, isn't it?
No, this is for
Oh.
Northwest Kansas Planning and Development.
Northwest Kansas Planning and Development. All those in, or do I get a second out of that?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. So Roger's gonna take that on. Okay. What else
And
you
then,
got?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with Marcy Penner and the Kansas Sampler Foundation. They, that is the group that has been in charge of the Kansas Sampler Festival, which we are not having anymore. They're gonna start doing road trips instead. So this next year, instead of having an event where they invite everybody to come in and see what there is to do in Kansas, excuse me, they'll send people, you know, to like 3 different counties to see what there actually is to see. And one of the things that's come out of that is Marcy Penner, who's the director, and Wendy Rowe, who's the assistant director, have traveled Kansas for the last 2 or 3 years and written up the Kansas Guidebook, which is this book. And they're going to be here the 26th in the evening at 7 o'clock to do a presentation at the Cheyenne County History Museum. And then they'll do a book signing. And so if you want a book, they're $30. And then they'll be at Fresh 7 the next morning. And then we have a Northwest Kansas Travel Council meeting here. So they'll be there, and then they have to be in Russell that evening. But it just kind of goes through those things that to see and do in Kansas that maybe you don't know about. We're very fortunate that Cheyenne County has a presence on the cover, both the front and the back. And Cheyenne County is the first county in the book. It doesn't list everything that there is to see in the counties, but you know, it just you know, tells some of the things that are going on. So I just wanted to show you the book and invite you to come to that. And then this is from the state, that it shows the visitor spending as of 2013 by the counties in the Northwest region, the state and local tax revenue for that. We were down in growth, and these are the latest figures that I have, but I'm hoping with, I think the Motorcycle Museum has been a real plus for people coming in. Last I checked, they'd have 5,700 people in since a year ago, April. And we're getting increased traffic because of the scenic byway. And so I'm hoping that these figures will come up, and we will at least show more tax revenue, sales tax revenue coming in by the promotions we're doing. I know that we're going through a lot of information up at the rest area. And I've encouraged, you know, businesses that if they have brochures, to get them to me, and then I'll take them up there. I prefer they bring them to my office because I want to keep track of the number of things that we go through up there. But that's, I think, been a real plus for the community. Cheyenne County did, and I don't know who did this brochure. I just brought one with me, but it is getting very dated. When I started, the phone number on the back was incorrect, and we've gone through about 7,000 of them and changed the phone number. But at some point, it needs to be redone, and that's just, I just throw that out saying we need to do it. I did get a grant to do the Rickory Breaks and Cherry Creek encampment ones. But that's something that, you know, we need to work on and maybe, you know, apply for a grant, and it doesn't necessarily need to be your responsibility to do it, but I do think that we need a new one. And then the other thing I have, pardon?
What does that cost?
Well, the ones for I did the Rickory Breaks and Cherry Creek encampment. Rickory Breaks I did 5,000, which is similar in size to that. And we're looking probably, you know, somewhere in the neighborhood of, well, around $1,000. I did use a printer in Denver, which was less expensive than any furniture I could find in Kansas. And they did a really good job. And if you look, I've got some out there, but if you look at the brochures from the Rickory Breaks and Cherry Creek encampment, the Rickory Breaks is a little bit smaller, and by making that smaller, we saved $250. So that was a plus to do that. But it's just something that kind of needs to be redone if we're going to continue to promote the county. The other thing is on the Land and Sky Scenic Byway, which is going very well now. We've got our brochure out. We're starting to do some tours with people. We had a guy come in from Des Moines, Iowa, who's with Midwest Living, and we gave him a tour of the breaks. It was kind of funny. He'd never seen a tumbleweed, and he thought tumbleweeds were really great. So he stood on the three corners and held the tumbleweed up, and we took a picture. He wanted to take a tumbleweed with him, and we told him no because we didn't want to spread the seeds. But you know, he really, the things that he toured in Kansas, he really thought that what he saw in Cheyenne County was the best, so that was a real plus. So there'll be some future things coming out of Midwest Living and some of the other publications that they do in Des Moines, Iowa, which is like Better Homes and Gardens and that kind of thing. So, and then there's also a writer that's going to be here from Denver on Monday that's going to be doing some tours, and that was set up with an advertising firm out of Topeka. And I'm not sure how that contact went. I just got the call that somebody will be here on Monday. And so one of the things with the byway is the committee is made up of a county commissioner from each of the three counties, people that are in the tourism business, whether it's economic development, Convention and Visitors Bureau, or Chamber, and some people at large. And that one is Mona Carver, who directs the information center out on I-70. And we don't have a commissioner from Cheyenne County on there. So I need an appointment for that also.
I'm pushing your luck.
We need more commissioners, I can see that already.
I think a lot of it is we need some appointments so that I want some feedback from what you guys are thinking if we decide to do something. You know, if you see something that needs to be out there, be promoted. In this case, we're the only agriculture-themed byway in the nation. So I've got right now 5 businesses that are ag-related that will do tours and things like that. But I kind of need, you know, your eyes and ears and recent help.
So what are the responsibilities for the person?
Okay. We do have meetings approximately once a month, not always. We're meeting the third Tuesday of the month, and we switch around to the places we go. But I need a contact, a commissioner contact.
I guess since Roger went for the last one, I can take this one.
Okay.
I so move. And oh, by the way, if anybody wants to take a thistle with them, you give it to them.
Well, I was afraid they might come back
No,
and sue us
give them
because
5 or 6 of them.
spread. That's to the Land and Sky Scenic Byway Committee. But that's all I have. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me or ask or whatever. And
Thank you.
if you think I should do something different or not do something, let me know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did we get a second on that motion?
I'm sure we did.
We did.
Matter of fact, I'm positive. Reed, we jumped over you, but come on up.
Morning. All right, the monitor saga continues. But the good thing is this is the final day. Everything has to be in today. So I switched things up last night. We found out at the last minute with the monitor that you guys approved that, and why this wasn't discovered was they were going to try to charge the hospital to receive our data from this monitor in the tune of $2,700 per year subscription fee. The other two manufacturers don't do that. So we went back to the drawing board very quickly. I got updated quotes from Zoll, and now I would like for you guys to change your motion from approving the Life Pack to approving the cheaper Zoll.
Based on,
Two things, that subscription fee we don't have, and the actual cost for the monitor is a few $1,000s less than the Life Pack.
but we're still getting a quality monitor.
Yeah, Zoll is what we've been using for ever since we put monitors in, I believe. They're proven in the field. They're all proven in the field. They have a lot of the same ratings as far as rain and showers and military specs. Same warranty. It's purely a financial thing. We wanted to go with the Life Pack because we felt like it was easier to operate from the front. It wouldn't require as much training, and for us is kind of a big issue. But at $2,700 per year, by the time this monitor's into service, we bought another monitor, or the hospital has, and I don't think the hospital, and I don't want to speak for them, but I don't even know if they would
Be willing to take.
willing to take on that. And if they aren't, then this whole goal of being able to transmit a 12 lead to the hospital to get the chopper or the fixed wing in the air to get the patient to Denver or what, I mean, it's all blown out of water if we can't do that. So we might as well not be doing the whole project. So that's why we're back to Zoll. And for the last month, we've had all three manufacturers' devices in, we've been testing them. But yeah, there was this fee, and I had asked them probably 2 weeks prior, is there any other costs? And they finally came back and said, well, there is this hospital piece, so. When I reviewed the video from last time, I didn't hear a specific dollar amount, but I did hear you say a Life Pack. So I thought that's probably why I should bring this back. As long as I get it sent in by 11 o'clock today, we still meet all of our deadlines.
Okay, so what we need is a motion to go ahead and change the Life Pack
to Zoll.
What was the other company?
Zoll.
The Life Pack to Zoll.
Life Pack to
Yep.
Zoll. Okay, there we go. Because we're gonna wind up with a little bit cheaper monitor plus save $2,700 a month in somebody's pocket. You guys okay with that?
And I would maybe just note that the board is changing its decision on this because material information was left out of the bid,
Okay.
just to cover our bases. I mean, right, they didn't include
Yeah,
the
that's-
subscription.
Yeah, it
So
would
I
have been
just-
a quote to the hospital, not the quote to EMS. And they said that they were working with the hospital, but they hadn't gotten any return calls. But when I found out last night of this cost, I was like, no.
Okay. Well, it's equipment that you're gonna have to use if you're happy with it, and it winds up being cheaper for us. I think it's a kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we go ahead and take the bid from Zoll for a new monitor for Cheyenne County EMS, and that cost was $32,016. Is that correct?
No, next page. 33,930.
Okay, there it is.
Just as a procedural aspect, basically what you want to do is go back and rescind the previous motion due to newly discovered information, so that that's completely wiped out. You don't necessarily want to change the motion, you want to completely rescind the previous and make a new motion based on the new information.
and I think we just want to be clear that we're doing that because material information was left out of the bid. I don't want someone to come back and try and, do you know what I mean?
And know that these aren't bids, these are purely quotes.
Okay,
So it's not like we went out for quote for bid or anything like that. These are purely quotes. But it doesn't hurt to put that in
I
there.
know. I just want to make sure, we don't want someone coming back and claiming that we're doing something that we actually entered a contract or anything.
Yeah, but we haven't made it to that point yet, so.
Oh, no.
Okay, I'm just covering our bases here.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's, I'm glad you're here.
So I need to make a motion to rescind
Previous
the
action.
previous action. All right.
Second.
All those in favor of rescinding the quote from LifePak?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. So we'll go ahead and if you'll make the arrangements with Zoll and get that taken care
Going,
of.
done. Today's the final day. Okay, the next thing under new business is our new ambulance is in service. The wiring changes were made to the building, I think at a cost of approximately $2,000. That money will come out of, half of that, roughly half of that will be contractual for the electrician and half of that will be for materials for the new 30 amp hang from the ceiling thing. A question I did have back in 2009 when they got the last ambulance, they started putting grill guards on them. Do you guys want grill guards?
Have they proven to help anything or?
All depends on how many transfers we take. I mean, really. Because usually the transfers are where we hit the deer. Now, I will say the one deer I've hit personally with that ambulance, it came at me from the side.
Well,
So
my experience with grill guards is to me, they just don't provide that much protection. I mean, especially if you're talking bigger animals. Yeah, if you hit a pheasant or something like that. it may help,
historically,
but-
we hit deer.
Yeah, and their grill guard's not gonna,
I'm
in my
fine
opinion,
with
do you much good.
not doing
You
that.
hit a pheasant with a grill guard and it just shreds him and sticks him all over your windshield.
I noticed there was, I call them extension cords, but they were roll up. Those are expensive cords. What's the deal?
30 amp. They go from like $200 to $800. 'Cause
We got a
It's-
45 footer for $300 and some dollars and the 50 footer was 800.
And one was a 20 amp and one was a 30 amp. That's the difference. That 30 amp has 10 gauge wire. And they were the only one on contract that I could find that even makes a 30 amp. This thing weighs, I don't know how much. I mean, it's built like a tank.
RV cord, it's probably about that.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, it's.
But it's
I
a
was
one-time
surprised
expense.
too. Right,
Yeah.
and it's, before on the 20 amp side, when the building was purchased, they put up probably ones, the 20 amps, I'm gonna guess cost $100 maybe. And they were plastic jobbies. And I'll just say from experience, the 3 years that I've been here, we did lose one. And when it's coming from 15 foot in the air down at you, you really don't want one falling on you. These are metal. They don't come apart in pieces and they are very securely mounted to the ceiling. Electricians ran strips for us and bolted everything up there very nicely. I know we won't have to worry about that, but the 30 amp was crazy.
Where are we coming for 50 feet? I mean,
That's what they made. That was the one that they made.
we couldn't have made one.
Oh, I don't.
I mean, I'm not,
I mean, they're reels with all the mechanics in there. I mean,
did we have to have a reel? Couldn't we roll it up and hung it on the wall? I guess
That's
$800
something.
50-foot cord seems like a lot of money.
Well, you're paying for the reel, I'm assuming, not
Yeah,
the cord.
I know.
And the
I
reel,
know it's handy,
it gets it out of the way. You know, you don't pull out and hit it. And that's something that our building has had from day one. I just continued it. But, you know, that it is a question to ask yourself going forward, because we're gonna have to do some more work along this same line, because there wasn't dedicated 20 amp circuits ran to this stuff. So, you know, if you want an extension cord coming out of the wall, because we do have outlets on the wall. I know before when we tried that, we did have a driver pull out with the extension cord still attached.
Oh,
But-
that could happen with the one with the reels up.
Yeah. The difference is it's hanging, so you have to hit your head on the way. I mean, that's really-
I think you could probably run into tripping hazards if somebody goes up and inspects the
Oh, yeah.
ambulance.
And they do come out and inspect that, the Kansas does, not the feds, but they come out. Now, they haven't identified a tripping hazard, I don't think yet, but I don't know. It is a lot of money, and I realize that. Oh,
But
I didn't
bottom
say
line
that,
is,
I'm
we've
sorry.
already committed to it, we've already paid
Oh,
for it.
yeah, I just,
But going forward, it's a decision that can be made.
Okay.
So if everybody's okay, we won't do Grill Garden,
I,
and I don't even know how much they cost, but.
yeah,
The old ambulance, what do you want to do with it? It's 2005 E450 6 liter. It's that 6 liter Ford,
how many miles is on that?
105, I'm gonna guess.
This is one you keep having motor trouble with.
I don't have room for it, and I don't want to keep it. I mean, there's not any reason to keep it. I've got it parked outside right now, and I just put, do we want to do sealed bids? Do you want to do purple wave, big iron, a combination? I did ask the new ambulance guy, I said, what's it worth on a trade-in back to you guys? He said, we'll give you $1,500 for it. And he said, that's just to get it taken away. He says, because we know there's $1,500 worth of ambulance equipment we can strip out of it.
So yeah, right.
He said if it didn't have the 6.0, it'd be worth about $7,500. He says that 6.0, there's a bunch of them around, the same problems we have. It's
Not on
just,
tape. We're trying to get rid of this.
We've had pretty good luck with Purple Wave in the past for other stuff. Didn't we sell some fire trucks through Purple Wave?
Western option.
Western?
or Western, I never even thought of it. I don't care at all.
That's what auction time.
Yep.
Why don't we try, why don't you give Skip Peterson a
Okay.
visit and see if he thinks it'd be something.
That they take on. And I don't know, you want a minimum price?
Have to be about 15 if that's what they was gonna give you.
Was.
But yeah, it's a good place to start.
Okay.
I believe there might be one EMT that would be interested in maybe putting in a bid, so.
Okay.
I did receive a resignation from Dee Wilson. She is going to work at the Good Samaritan Village, and I'm looking at options to present to you at the end of the month.
To fill all these needs you have
Yes,
listed
those
here.
are her responsibilities at 29 hours per week. She did say in her letter that she would like to stay until July, basically about a month.
So
And she will still take call,
That's
so
where
she's
I-
not giving that up. But I will tell you, her availability to take call is going way down, because that 29 hours, we could keep her on call. Now she's replacing that with, I don't know what her arrangement is, but let's say 40 hours. That's gonna be 40 hours that she's not gonna be able to physically take call. So like I said, I'm looking at some options there and trying to be a little creative.
Okay.
And I'll present those at the next meeting. One of the things Nicole had mentioned, that once upon a time, you had talked to the Board of EMS. They had some good information, I believe, to pass along your direction. It wasn't this board, I think it was a previous board, that you encouraged them to maybe seek out their advice and opinions and kind of go over some statutes and regulations. Since we do have 2 new people, I don't know if they're still willing to do this, but they were a year ago, is to come out here and just lay it on the line with you guys in an hour. And I think it would be well worth all of our time to do.
I'd like to hear it personally.
Yeah,
You hear
'cause
it from
there's
them
a
and not
ton
me,
and
and-
especially over, I would say the last 2 years, there's just been a lot of new regulations. I know there was a talk about actual like fining. I don't know where that's at. It's kind of up in the air.
Right, it's still up in the air. We've yet to receive a bill.
But there's just so many regulations when it comes to EMS, and those regulations, I think, is what, I mean, makes that department run a lot differently than a lot of other ones, so I think that would be a great idea.
I'd like,
Good
if you'll
for you
contact them,
too.
see if they'll come out, I'd go.
And it was the executive director that would come out. I mean, it's the chief.
And who is that now?
Joe House. He's kind of younger guy.
Maybe I've run across him.
So I will try to get that on an agenda meeting, maybe the last thing on the agenda that day.
Okay.
And I would like to attend it also to see, there's probably some stuff for me in there too. He does come to our region meetings, and gives us updates, but I think it means something coming from him to you guys, to be honest with you.
Well, there's always a question, is it statute, is it a KAR, is it an EMS rule?
Or is it Reed's preference?
Yeah, or,
I get it.
yeah.
And when you guys started, I started making 3-ring books for you guys and printed all the statutes, and I'm like, get him out here,
Yeah.
let him go through it and be done. So, okay. And then the only thing else I have is 10 minutes of executive session for financial matters. Actually, let's go 5 minutes. We'll probably, 5 minutes.
Do I hear a motion to executive session? Second.
5 minutes for,
5 minutes for
Financial matters of the third
financial
party.
matters of a third party. Thank you, Nicole. Now, you keep this up, because I'm not very good at this.